Ukrainian defenders have held off an attempt by Russian forces to assault Ukrainian positions on the Luhansk front. As the wounded Russian troops fled, their bandages were trailing behind them. Ukrainian defenders posted a video from the front line showing Russians fleeing their positions with bandages trailing behind the wounded. Volodymyr Zelensky says Ukrainian forces have taken the initiative after making gains outside the eastern city of Bakhmut as part of a wider counteroffensive. Stating that Ukraine is advancing, albeit not as fast as we would like, Mr. Zelensky said, "We would all love to see the counteroffensive accomplished in a shorter period of time. But there is reality. Today, the initiative is on our side." On the 501st day of the war, Ukraine is attempting to retake territory and villages that were captured by Russia not long after its invasion began, to the east and south of the country. It comes as U.S. President Joe Biden is visiting the UK as part of a three-nation trip this week. Before making his way to Windsor Castle, Biden will meet with Rishi Sunak in a session sure to be dominated by their continued efforts to back Ukraine. The Prime Minister refused to back the U.S. President on the question of providing Ukraine with cluster munitions and said the UK is one of 123 signatories of a convention banning the bombs because of their devastating impact on civilians. The armed forces of Ukraine are making progress around the eastern city of Bakhmut. That is according to a statement of Commander of the Ground Forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Colonel General Alexander Syrsky, on his official account on Telegram, The Guardian reports. Colonel General Alexander Syrsky said the defense forces continue to advance and the enemy is trapped in places. The commander of Ukraine's ground forces also released a video in which he presented the excellent work of the Ghost Group of the Separate Presidential Brigade named after Hetman Bogdan Khmelnytsky, operating in the Bakhmut area. This video shows how a sniper with the call sign Alpha works. From 1,200 meters, he destroyed the enemy with one shot. While the sniper was working, the group was hunted by an enemy UAV, which was also shot down. Russian forces captured Bakhmut in May after months of heavy fighting, but are thought to be struggling to maintain control of it. In an intelligence update on July 8, the UK Ministry of Defense said Ukrainian forces had made steady gains to the north and south of the city. It added that Russia's leadership would almost certainly see it as politically unacceptable to concede Bakhmut, but there are highly likely few additional reserves to commit to the sector. After a lull during June 2023, over the last 7 days Bakhmut has again been the site of some of the most intense fighting along the front, the UK Defense Intelligence reports. Ukrainian forces have made steady gains to both the north and south of temporarily occupied town. Russian soldiers are highly likely struggling with poor morale, a mix of disparate units and a limited ability to find and strike Ukrainian artillery. The Russian leadership almost certainly see it as politically unacceptable to concede Bakhmut, which has a symbolic weight as one of the few Russian gains in the last 12 months. However, there are highly likely few additional reserves to commit to the sector. During the winter-spring campaign of 2023, the Russian command focused on establishing advantageous front configuration in Donbass on the eve of the Ukrainian counteroffensive. Based on the history of the Russian-Ukrainian war, the most effective defense strategy is one that utilizes water barriers such as rivers and channels. Therefore, the Russian command planned to turn the Siversky-Donetsk-Donbass Canal into the frontier of its defense system in the Donetsk region. This obstacle determined the concentration of Russia's main efforts in Bakhmut, as gaining control over the city provides access to the eastern bank of the canal. As a result of the 9-month assault, the Russians managed to capture the ruins, which were a cozy and economically developed town with a population of 70,000 just a year ago. This victory of the Russian army and the Wagner PMC could be called Pyrrhic. However, despite the public statements of the Russian side, it is too early to summarize the results of the Battle of Bakhmut. Since the beginning of June, the Ukrainian army has carried out a number of tactical offensives in the south of Ukraine aiming to achieve a breakthrough in the Russian defensive lines. In response, Russia intensified missile and drone attacks on Ukraine's military infrastructure. In this paper, the authors assess the operational situation in which Ukraine and Russia have approached the decisive phase of the current year's campaign and the prospects and challenges of the Ukrainian offensive.
Поменяли, новый моноблок поставили. Также тот вышел из строя в процессе эксплуатации. И вот, и сейчас на новом двигателе вообще ведет себя хорошо на дороге. Да, сейчас прошли ходовые испытания, показатели все в норме, машина ведет себя отлично на дороге. В бой идти готова.